looks like we are streaming live on my end.
All right.
All right.
Judge, would it be all right to have Cindy do a roll call so we can make sure we have a quorum?
Yeah, let me go ahead and do a word of prayer and pledge to our flag, and then we'll do a roll call. If everybody would bow with me, please. Dear most kind, gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you with praise and thanks for this day that you've given us, dear Lord. Dear Lord, just thank you for the blessings that you always give us each and every day, Lord. Your love for us is never ending, even though we're not worthy, dear Lord. We just can't thank you and praise you enough for that. Lord, just be with us in our meeting as we work together as a community to deal with the health issues of Cumberland County. Dear Lord, we just ask you help us more in this battle against COVID and the other problems that we do. We just ask that everything that's done here in this meeting be pleasing to you. And we thank you for your son, Jesus, and your plan of salvation for us all. All these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. And I'm going to stand and I'll do the pledge. And if you all want to follow, that's great. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Cindy, if you want to go ahead and perform the roll call and see who all we've got.
Okay. Kristen Branham.
Here.
Jan Clark. Dr. Brian Dyer.
Here.
Dr. Lauren Dyerhurt.
Here.
Dr. Flowers Sr. Mike Morgan. Judge Phelps.
Here.
Tabitha Shelton. Dr. John Stevenson.
He's here.
Jenna
He's
Shay.
totally-
Yeah.
Here.
Jenna Shay.
Here.
Gary White. And Doug Williams.
What was your count?
6. I
Okay.
had talked to Doug this morning and he was going to try to get on.
Okay. Do you want to maybe, if you've got their cell phone numbers, text a few of them and see if they can jump on?
I
All right.
can.
Judge, if it's all right, while we're waiting, I can go ahead and give a report on COVID and just health department things. We won't need to vote on my report anyway. And that way we can go ahead and make use of the time.
Carry on.
All right, thank you, sir. As far as our COVID-19 situation goes, of course, that's been a real challenge for the health department. We, it's part of what we do to do disease investigation, to do isolation, to do quarantine. We do enforcement through our environmental branch. We do public health messaging and public health education. Now, those are all things we do, but of course, with COVID-19, that's lasted a lot longer and been on a lot larger scale than most of what we deal with. And also, when it comes to what we have been doing with isolation and quarantine and trying to help enforce the regulations and the advice, traditionally what we do has enjoyed large public support. There's basically no one that argues that people shouldn't straight line their human waste into the creeks and rivers, and nobody really argues that you shouldn't have a bug infestation at a restaurant or a hotel. But when it comes to COVID-19, as far as isolation, quarantine, enforcement, there's been a considerable amount of our population that's not necessarily been in favor of those things. So it's been a more of a challenge to us than other things we've had to deal with on that front. As far as our COVID-19 district-wide, over the last few weeks, we've kind of been plateaued and even trending downward some. Perhaps that's a combination of people observing the guidance more carefully, a combination of, some people getting vaccinated, a combination of a certain percentage of our population having tested positive and recovered. But we are happy to see it trending down. Of course, there's still a lot of the population to go as far as people who haven't had it or people who haven't been vaccinated. So we would certainly wouldn't want to see people let their guard down, and would still encourage people to mask and social distance and so forth until the vaccine is widely available. The rolling out the vaccination has been a real challenge. We in our district, there's been a very limited supply that has come in, and whenever folks are able to get one of those appointments, whether it's through the health department or another provider, they're pretty satisfied. But there's a lot of people who want it who haven't been able to get an appointment, and they've been quite unsatisfied. And it's difficult in the world we live in. When you need any other vaccine, basically there's a whole world of people that provide those shots, and you can just call and get an appointment at will. But with this, it's not. The manufacturers who are making it are trying to produce enough vaccine for the entire world. And there's only a certain amount of that that's allocated to Kentucky, and only a certain amount of that that's allocated to Lake Cumberland. And the demand has far outweighed the supply. For our part, up until the weather hit, we've been able to successfully schedule all of our appointments very quickly. We've been able to administer the vaccine very quickly. With the weather having just hit, we've had to reschedule today's appointments and tomorrow's appointments, and we'll probably have to reschedule Wednesday's appointments. We're talking thousands of people we're having to reschedule just in those 3 days. Fortunately, we had some open slots on Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday of next week, because we're just now starting to get these pushes of 1,000 a week. After next week, though, our schedule is really full, and if the weather doesn't break, we're going to start, double booking our clinics or having to work weekend clinics or something to make up, which I'm willing to have the staff work weekend clinics to get caught up. That won't be an issue. It's just you've only got so many weekend days. If those fill up too, that'll be an issue. So it's been a real challenge. There's a lot of people that feel like there's a better way to spread, 50 doses across 500 people. And people aren't shy to tell you all the ways that it could be done better, but we are doing the best we can. If you look at our website each day, we post a daily brief. There's more and more providers that's becoming rolled up in our district. And I understand the state's working on a couple more regional hubs for our district right now. They've got Lake Cumberland Regional in Pulaski. They have TJ in Columbia. And there's a couple of other sites they're working on, which I can't really talk about because it's embargoed until it happens. Then the federal government is starting to partner directly with some pharmacies to send in 100 doses a week. And then we've been promised at the health department 1,000 doses a week. I met with the county judges a few days ago to talk about how we would divide up the 1,000 that we're getting in our district, to proportion it out to the counties based on the population size. If we were pushing 100 doses to Cumberland and 100 doses to Taylor, Cumberland, of course, would get done through their phases much quicker. So, we're trying to find a more equitable way to spread the vaccine. With that being said, once we get through this next 3 weeks, we scheduled all of our appointments for the next 3 weeks. Once we get through that and get into the next batch of 1,000, we'll have to relook at our entire district, because they're going to be like Campbellsville, for example, has 3 pharmacies that's been approved, and they'll probably be getting about 300 doses a week just to those pharmacies. So for our supply, we may pull the doses we would have allocated to Taylor and push them to counties that don't have those resources, just so we can make sure each county is getting a kind of a fair supply. So it's not enough, and it's not coming quick enough, but we will do the best we can to make sure each county's getting a fair portion with with the things that are within our control. Anyway, anyone that wants to unmute and ask a question about anything to do with COVID or our response or vaccinations, feel free to do that. By the way, Cindy, did you get a hold of anybody? Was anybody looking to jump in?
Yes, Doug says it's telling him on his end it's connecting.
Well, internet problem.
So he's trying to get in.
Does he have the phone number where he could call in?
He should have. I can double check with him.
Let me see. I'm gonna email it to you in case you want to text it to him if he wants to dial in. Maybe he's already got that. Maybe not. I'm getting that to you right now, Cindy, in case you don't have it. It just sent. Okay, does anyone have any COVID questions? I'd be glad to try to answer them.
Well, I'll go ahead and start it off. Just a couple of things. Number one, and I know this is probably the governor, Dr. Stack. I just don't agree with the regionalization, commercialization of having these things at Kroger's and Walgreens. And I mean, it's fine for pharmacies to do this, but what about the rural areas that don't have them? Looks to me like more vaccines should be made available to our local health departments. I mean, already established, we've already got the staff, and we've got so many people here that are just not going to travel an hour and 15, 20 minutes to another county. I mean, we've got people here that are scared to death, go to the post office, the grocery store. I'm talking about 70-year-old plus for certain. We've got to do our medical, all those folks up front first and first responders. But that's completely backwards to me. And like I said, I'm sure part of that's the governor and Dr. Stack. That's just my personal thoughts on that. And I'm also not real keen on the scheduling going through the switchboard in Somerset.
Can I address those one at a time, Judge? And if you've got more,
sure.
So I don't
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So on the regional things, of course, that is outside my control. But Lake Cumberland Health Department has been promised 1,000 doses a week. So as I said, to kind of counteract the areas in our district that's getting more doses because they're a regional hub or because they have more pharmacies, I'll try to take what we're getting allocated and push more of it to the health departments in the counties that don't have those resources to kind of keep it balanced. As far as the switchboard, all of our phones in our health department are voice over internet. So every phone basically comes in through the same switchboard and is routed wherever the computers tell them to route. We routed them to the operators in Somerset. Actually, there were operators in other locations other than Somerset, but because we knew there would be so many calls coming in all at once, we didn't want to sync our local health departments when that happened. But each operator had the schedule, and they knew how many doses were going to each county, and they were able to schedule them. And when folks called in, they dialed the number that was given for their county, and the operator was able to see which county it was that they needed an appointment from. I know that a lot of people didn't get through. We had 30 phone lines, we had 20 operators, and we had 300,000 attempted dial-ins. So, we expanded our phone capacity tremendously to get to 30 lines for operators, but there's just way more demand than there is supply. Even if we had routed the calls to the local clerks in each county, they would have had the same experience. They would have been overwhelmed too. We are looking at a outside vendor to do this that has a much larger capacity than us. We have an appointment on Thursday to look at that. The problem with that will be if they have a larger capacity and we have 1,000 slots across 10 counties, they'll just fill up in the first 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, and that'll be all. So, there's no easy way when you got more demand than supply. But I mean, we are trying to do our best. I hope that explanation makes sense to you.
Well, I know we are the smaller county of the 10. To me, throwing us in that mix only convoluted and made things more difficult. I do know we had a lot of people here that were virtually ready to give up on trying to call in and get scheduled. The other uncomfortable thing to me with that is, we were told that Cumberland County is getting 40 this week or 80 this week or whatever, but there's no real guarantee that what was scheduled was for Cumberland County residents. I represent the people of this county, and when it's portrayed to us that we're going to get X amount of vaccines for Cumberland County, do we know that everybody that called and got scheduled were Cumberland County residents? And I'm going to, probably say no, and that probably wasn't the case.
I can pretty well guarantee you that not everyone that's scheduled in a particular county was from that county. But all 120 counties in the state have an agreement not to turn anyone away who's a state resident. And, that's largely worked to our benefit because there's been more people going out of our district to get the vaccine than people coming in. If people were going out and getting turned away, it would be harder on us than if they weren't. So, it's like I said, we all agreed that we wouldn't turn any in-state residents away. So, like I said, I think that's really worked to our advantage. I think more of our residents have gone out than others have come in. So I wouldn't really want to see that.
I'm sure we've had some go to Bowling Green just to go get in the line at Kroger. But anyway, that's my thoughts, and this was my time to share it. And
I appreciate the feedback. We do have 2 more board members that have arrived now. Tabitha Shelton has now arrived, and I think that's Doug Williams that says user. Is that right?
Doug is on there. He's muted.
I'm going to rename.
Yes, he messaged me and said he was on.
Yeah. All right. I'm renaming him to Doug Williams. So we do have a quorum now, Judge. You can call the meeting officially to order and run the agenda.
Okay. Of course, those that were here heard the update from Sean in regards to COVID and the vaccination process. Maybe we'll have a little time for a few questions toward the end.
Sure.
First on our agenda is approval of the minutes. Hopefully everyone received a copy of the minutes from February 17th, 2020 meeting. Hopefully everyone's had time to review those. Does anyone know of any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented?
And everyone was forwarded the packet ahead of time, Judge.
Okay, well, I'll open it up. If there's no additions, deletions, or corrections, if someone out there would like to unmute, make a motion to approve in a second.
Doug, I think I see you talking, but you're muted. Are you trying to make a motion to approve the minutes? If you are, nod your head.
Got a motion by Doug Williams to.
I'll second.
It says presented, seconded by Kristen Branham. All in favor signify by saying aye. Thumbs up or whatever. All opposed, thumbs down. All right, I believe looks like we got approval. I think we either got an eye or a thumbs up on about everybody on here, best I can tell. Moving along, old business. Is there any old business that we need to discuss this evening? Any old business? Is there any new business? Any new business that needs to be brought forward at this time? All right, hearing none, we'll just keep moving. Next is to set our tax rate for 2021. Can someone enlighten us on where we are on that?
All right, Judge, I'll present that. Whenever, before we approve the tax rate, even though we approved the tax rate before we approve the budget, I always like to present the budget so you can approve the tax rate in context of the budget. So on the screen and in your packet, you can see the budget presentation. What's in this top block is where we are so far through our current budget year. This is the budget that you approved for the year that we're in, the fiscal year that we're in right now that ends June, the end of June. What we've updated is we updated the, as of December 31st, 2020, we updated what our actual balance was in our accounts. And we've made some adjustments in our expenses as those bills have come in. But again, this is the budget that you approved for the current year. And as of December 31st, 2020, we were projecting that you would end this year at $129,097. In reality, you might come in a little better than that since we don't always spend all the miscellaneous unknown. But for now, we're projecting 129,097. And you can see that number carries down to the estimated opening balance for next year. On your budget sheet, you can see we've got 3 tax rates listed. The one in the middle column where you see my mouse is the present tax rate, which is 0.035 or 3.5 cents per $100 of property value. Then we have a couple other options there just so you can see what a couple of other different rates would bring in. I'm going to present the budget under the assumption that you would keep the tax rate the same. But if you decide you want to do something different, Ron's on here with us. He can adjust the numbers on the fly and tell you any changes that whatever rate you suggest would make to the revenue. If you leave the tax rate where it is, at the real property taxes would bring in $108,946.32. Now, the way that we arrive at that number is you see we have calculation sheets in your packet right behind the budget that we take everything that belongs in real property, we put it in that column, the items that belong in personal property and motor vehicle. So this is our calculation sheet. We get the numbers for the calculation sheet from this sheet. This is a sheet that's provided to us from the Finance and Administration Cabinet. It shows the property values as projected for next fiscal year and this is the same property value sheet that's forwarded to all taxing districts, the county, the schools, the library, whoever taxes. So again, we take these categories, we plug them into the right column on these calculation sheets. We multiply the total by whatever tax rate you approve. And then we multiply that by a 95% collection rate, and we get the numbers that we plug in on your budget sheet. So again, real property taxes at the present tax rate would bring in $108,946.32. Personal property taxes would bring in $15,519.91. Motor vehicle taxes would bring in $14,475.10. A little bit of delinquent tax collections, $3,174. The telecommunications tax or the other tax is $402. Interest, $61.96. You can see in the footnote here, interest is calculated on our checking account at 0.05%. When you total up all of the revenues, it comes to $142,579.29. When you add that to the estimated opening balance, we have funds available for next budget year of $271,676. Now, what we're asking you to spend next year is it's pretty routine items that we're not asking for any special projects or special purchases. The 2.8 cents that each county pays into the district, what I'm talking about there, that's for our large operational budget, the district budget, which mostly is made up of staff cost. That's $117,003. Under the item of building maintenance and repair, we have two items: snow removal and landscaping, $1,500, miscellaneous unknown $7,000, for a total of $8,500 under the category building maintenance and repair. This miscellaneous unknown category is just in case something comes up through the year that we don't know about now, so we can't line item it. But if something unexpected happens to the building, we have $7,000 of wiggle room to fix that without having to call a special board meeting. Again, the building maintenance and repair totals $8,500. Under furniture and fixtures, 3 office chairs, $500, miscellaneous unknown $5,000, for a total of $5,500. And again, on these miscellaneous unknown, if we don't spend them, they just stay in your account and roll to your closing balance for this year or your opening balance for next year, however you want to look at that. Under the category of equipment, we have miscellaneous computer and related equipment, $7,500. That's for any computer or computer related issues that we have. If computers went down, monitors, keyboards, printers, something to do with our servers or routers or whatever, anything that might come up, we have that category. We have to pay $500 for our generator to be maintained each year. Then we have $5,000 just general miscellaneous unknown under equipment, for a total of $13,000. Other expenses next year, the audit, which is due, we have to get an audit every, I think it's every 4 years. Ron can correct me if I'm wrong. It's $1,400. We have to advertise our financial statements, and we have to pay the state website to publish those on the state's public information page. $300. The board's expenses to Calbo and KPHA, $1,500, and assuming we might get to have an in-person meeting next year, $500, mostly for meal expenses for the board meeting. Those expenses total $147,703. When you subtract away our funds available from that, it leaves a balance of $123,973, which is $5,123 less dollars than where we started. However, most years we don't spend all of our miscellaneous unknown, and we do a little better. I can show you how we've actually closed out each year for the last several years. This is Cumberland County right here. So you can see since 2012, we average running at about a $6,000 surplus. Some years we have special expenses like renovations or whatever, where we run at a deficit, but generally when we have a standard budget, we come in okay. So I guess my point is that your tax rate is probably pretty sufficient where it is. The one caveat I will say is, I'm sorry, my mouse is messing with me here. The one caveat I will say is the state just passed a new law, and it looks like the health departments will be subject to the compensating tax rate. The Cabinet for Health and Families and the State Department for Public Health have taken the position that that law does not apply to the health departments, but the Department of Local Government has taken the position that it does. And the attorneys from those two departments are trying to sort that out now. So whenever we propose a tax rate, if you're going to go with the same tax rate, I would propose that you propose it something like this. I propose I keep the tax rate, we keep the tax rate at 3.5 cents per $100 of property value, or accept the compensating tax rate, whichever applies. Under the compensating tax rate, if you take it, you basically keep the revenues equal to what they were last year. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second and see if anyone has any questions about the budget.
All right. Anything?
if there's no questions, it would be time to set the tax rate.
I'd
All
like to
right.
make a motion that we do set the tax rate at what it is now or whatever the compensating rate is.
We got a motion by Doug Williams to leave the tax rate as it is or the compensating rate. Is there a second to his motion?
I'll second that to leave it as is.
Second by John Stevenson. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like manner. Motion carries. We have also heard explanation of the budget presented for fiscal year 21-22. Are there any questions in regards to the budget presented? Okay. Would someone like to entertain a motion to approve the budget as presented?
I will. I don't care to make it for motion, but it's fine. I'll make the motion that we accept the budget as presented.
All right. I have a motion by Dr. Williams. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Gina Watson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like manner. Motion carries. Budget is approved. Now, looks like we've got several members or terms expire at the end of 2021 on December 31st. Dr. Robert Flowers, Mike Morgan, myself, Dr. Stevenson, Gina Watson, Dr. Doug Williams, and Gary White.
All right, and Judge, the way this works, of course, you're automatically on the board. You'll be reappointed, but the other members are appointed by the State Department for Public Health. Traditionally, we have you all fill out a biography sheet expressing your willingness to serve. I think this year the state's going to do away with the paper version and have us enter it on a state website. So really, I just need to know if there's anyone that's serving that doesn't want to. Otherwise, I will ask Cindy at some point to enter those into the state website. So you don't have to tell me now, but if you don't want to serve, send me an email or get in touch with Cindy. Otherwise, we're gonna nominate you again.
Hopefully everybody's good. Do I need to get a motion to nominate all of them again?
Now, since the state appoints them,
Okay.
it's kind of outside of us.
Okay, no action here then, so. All right, well, hopefully, we'd love to everybody continue to serve, if you will. We appreciate you. And I think we got a good rounded board membership, and I hope everyone will stay. Moving on with the agenda, election of officers and members who serve on the district board. I'll go ahead and open that up.
Judge, you're presently the chair, and your vice chair is presently Gina Lee Watson, and I serve as the secretary for all the boards, though I'm not a voting member.
All right, I'll open up the floor for nominations for either of those positions. Open up the floor for the chair first, I suppose. Are there any nominations for the office of chair? Y'all awful quiet today.
I nominate the Honorable Judge Phelps to keep the chair.
All right, is there a second to Doug's motion on that nomination?
I'll second that one.
Who was that seconded? Was that Gina?
I think it was Tabitha. I
Tabitha
believe.
Shelton.
All right, thank you, Tabitha.
All right. Are there any other nominations on the floor for chair? Any other nominations?
I make a motion that nomination cease.
We got a motion.
I'll second it.
Gina Watson, the nomination cease, and that be handled by acclamation, seconded by Doug Williams. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like manner. Motion carries. Now we'll open up the floor for nominations for vice chair. Do we have any motions for nomination on the vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Gina Shea Watson if she's willing to continue for vice chair.
All right, got a motion by Doug Williams for Gina Watson to remain as vice chair. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that one.
Second by Tabitha Shelton. All right, is there any other nominations for the office of vice chair? Any other nominations for the office of vice chair? Are there any other nominations or a motion for nominations to cease and Ms. Watson be elected by acclamation?
I'll make that motion that the nomination cease.
Motion by Doug Williams, nomination cease and Ms. Watson be elected by acclamation. Is there a second to her motion? Of that motion, by Doug's motion?
Second.
Second by Tabitha Shelton. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like manner. Motion carries.
Judge, by KAR, I'm automatically your secretary unless you just want someone different. So unless you want someone different, I'll just stay on.
We'll keep you.
All right. The benefit of having me as your secretary is I attend some, like Calbo and KPHA meetings and things, and I can represent you where, of course, if any of you all are present, you represent yourselves, but it gives us a voice.
All right. That's, I
District
guess,
members?
do we need a motion on that? I mean, I guess everybody's fine with it. I am. Do we need a motion on the minute for you to continue to be secretary?
You can or not. I mean, I'm on it by KAR unless you want to just make it in the
Well,
minutes.
if it's, so it's automatic under the KAR, under the reg. Okay, that's
Unless
fine.
you can replace me, but it's, if you don't appoint someone, I serve in that role.
Okay, well, if not necessary, then we'll just roll on. So, okay. All right. Need to see, we got Kristen's been serving on the district board. Is that correct?
She has. You're automatically on the district board, and based on the county's population size, you get additional members. And with your population being right around 6,000, it's every 15,000 or a segment of 15,000. So you have a segment of 15,000, so you get one additional member, and that's been Kristen.
Okay. I guess I'll open the floor up for nomination for member to serve at the district level. Anyone like to make a nomination for our district representative other than me?
I make a motion to keep Kristen as the member.
I got a motion by Gina Watson for Kristen Branham to remain as our member at the district level.
I'll second it.
Second by Doug Williams. Is there any other nominations for the district representative? Any other nominations? Any other nominations for representative for the district board? Someone like to entertain a motion for nominations to cease? Kristen
I
Brown.
make a motion, the nomination cease.
A motion for nomination to cease by Dr. Stevenson, and Ms. Brown will be elected by acclamation. Is there a second to that motion?
I will second it.
Second by Doug Williams. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like manner. Motion carries. Kristen, I guess you're still willing to serve, correct? No little travel involved there. She's still on?
Can do since nobody's itching for that position.
You're always ready to go. I know she's always there. So she's definitely representing us. She's there at every meeting. So appreciate that very much. So I guess we are back to director's comments.
Judge, if it's okay, I'll go ahead and give the health education comments and then we can open it up to anything folks want to ask me. Would that be all right?
Sure.
All right. I'm just doing that because I want to give you all time to ask me questions. The health education department asked to be excused from the meeting today. They had some things come up. So I will do a poor job of presenting what they would have presented. At the very end of your packet, there are statistics of just different kinds. All this comes from the county health rankings. You can get onto Google and just type in county health rankings. This is something that's done nationwide. It's broken down by state and broken down by county, and you can look at a variety of things. They look at health outcomes, which is length of life and premature death. They look at quality of life, which is poor fair health, poor physical health days, poor mental health days, low birth weight. That's all under health outcomes, under length of life and quality of life. Then there's a variety of things they look at under health factors. Health behavior, as you can see, there's a variety of things: smoking, obesity, teen birth rate, clinical care, access to physicians and mental health, socioeconomic factors, high school graduation, college, children in poverty, physical environment. So there's a variety of ways they look at it, and they give you a score in these two broad categories: health outcomes and health factors. So you want to be, this is a ranking, so you want to be not 102. 102 would be 102 out of 120 counties. 42 would mean that you're on 42 is better than 102 when you're looking at rankings. Of course, 1 would be best and 120 would be worse. So compared to last year, over on health outcomes, there was a considerable improvement, and on health factors, there was a considerable improvement. The items that they were going to highlight, they've got on the next 2 pages. You can see under medium outcome, they showed that the medium household income went up, that unemployment improved. Under health behaviors, they showed adult smoking rates improved. Adult obesity got worse. Physical inactivity stayed, I think that means the same. I'm not sure what the little gray means on excessive drinking. Maybe they didn't have data for the previous year, so they couldn't make a comparison. Overdose issues improved from 15 to 20. Under economic factors, children in poverty, the situation improved for Cumberland County. Children in single parent homes improved. Then they got some other categories: grandparents raising grandchildren, children in foster care. They didn't measure those in 2015, so there's nothing to compare to. But those will be good things for us to look at going forward. Children living in food insecure homes, which means don't have reasonable access to food, improved. Incarcerated parents is another category now that's been added that we'll look at over the years. The teen birth rate improved, and student homelessness is another category we'll be looking at. So again, all that's in your packet. I'm sure health education would have done a better job, but that gives you a good summary. You're welcome to ask me any questions about that. I'll probably tell you just to look on the County Health Rankings website. I'm not as knowledgeable about this as the health educators are. So you're free at this point, as far as I'm concerned. If it's the pleasure of the chair, you can ask me any questions you want about the health department, about COVID, or about this health education report.
Okay. We'll go ahead and just open the floor up. If you've got questions, just unmute yourself and we'll recognize you.
Sean.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to give a thanks to Cindy Nettles and her staff at the Cumberland County Health Department for the competent and professional manner in which y'all have administered the vaccines that you have received. Y'all do a good job with that. That's much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Hey, Sean, I have a comment, not necessarily a question, but I know it's not really, it's probably outside the health department realm, but as far as the hospital representative, we haven't been able to get any vaccines in several weeks now, and our neighboring counties have, and we have a waiting list of, I don't know, 500 or 600 people on the waiting list. And I know there's nothing the health department can do, but I might have missed at the beginning when the health department will be opening up vaccines for other people, or how y'all are doing it now.
We're going to stay in the 70 and older
Okay.
group until the demand drops off. When we see we're having trouble filling the appointment slots, we're going to move to 60 and older.
Okay.
The group 1C, phase 1C is a very, very large group made up of more than 1 million people. And instead, the governor has asked, and I agree, that going to the 60 and older would be better than just opening up, making the 60 and older compete with the rest of that group. Why do I say that? Because the 70 and older represents about 50% of our death and about 75% of our hospitalizations. 60 and older is about 75% of our death and 90% of our hospitalizations. Plus, a tremendous number of those with compromised health conditions are 60 and older. So we'll be getting both of those markets at once, but we'll get the biggest public health return by moving into the 60 and older market.
Okay. Do y'all have vaccine now, Sean? I missed that.
We're getting, the health department's being pushed 1,000 doses a week. We're dividing that up, or in the last batch, we divided it up by each county based on the county's proportion of population to the district total. What we will do moving forward is we will assess the vaccine situation across all of our counties. For example, in Campbellsville, they have presently 3 pharmacies that's getting 100 doses a week. So we may pull back the number of doses that we push to the health department in Taylor County and instead put that in some counties that don't have those resources. So we'll try to use our allotment to sort of balance out the inequities across our district as far as vaccine supply.
So right now, Sean, we don't have any, and the hospital isn't getting any.
No,
Can we direct those patients to you guys, to Cindy?
What you can do is you can let them know that, however it is that we're doing scheduling, they're welcome to try to get an appointment. We're not personally keeping a list right now because of, just like the situation you said, those lists balloon.
Yeah.
And we don't want to put people on a list where they're going to be 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks before they get a call. They could always go to a neighboring county, or they could go to one of those regional hubs. And I don't want to give people false hope that that they have a vaccine that's inevitable. The health departments that have kept waiting lists have told me they've ballooned to thousands or tens of thousands of people, and that they'll get a small push of vaccine. They'll call a few people, they'll set up the appointments, and then the 9,000 people that didn't get called are calling in fussing about, why didn't you call me? I was on your list. So there's just no easy way to spread a shortage of supply across the demand. So as far as scheduling goes, we have, the last couple times we've done scheduling, we've opened up our phone lines and set up a call center. We are looking at using an outside vendor who has a much greater capacity as far as phone lines, so that people won't be calling all day. The downside of that is that what appointments we do have will all be taken within just a few minutes, but there's no way around that. I guess just not having people wait on the phone all day would be an improvement. Once we get past the 60 and older group, we'll probably go to some online scheduling modality and skip the calling altogether. We're only doing the calling because we felt like with the elderly population that would work better than online stuff. It's not ideal, but that with that population having a number to call, we thought would be a more successful model than asking them to try to go through a web app. But we will probably, after we get it past the 60 group, go to a web app. Yeah, for the generation, for the folks younger than 60. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
And as I said, there's a couple more regional hubs that I'm aware that the state's trying to get off the ground in our district right now. We have Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital in Pulaski. We have TJ Sampson in Columbia. And I can't mention the sites that I think is being developed because it's embargoed, but our district's only so big. You can kind of guess one of those sites is going to be pretty close to your county. So that will be helpful. I know the federal government is directly shipping some supply to some pharmacies now, and they look to expand that. So, it'll get better. It's just going to be tough until we get past that. Well, when we get into past the 60-year-olds, I mean, the market, that market's going to open up and be millions of people in the state. It'll be hundreds of thousands, well, probably 100,000 people in our district. So getting on through the 1Cs once we get out of the 60 and older will take a while. And there'll be way more demand than there is supply. But at least we will have gotten through the biggest public health obstacles. One thing I can say, I mean, I know this hasn't felt like it's going fast, but Lake Cumberland had its first case in March. In under a year, there was a vaccine developed. And already in our district, we vaccinated the healthcare providers that signed up, teachers and school staff that have signed up, all of the nursing home staff and faculty that wanted it have had first and I think second doses now. And we're probably, if not more than halfway through our 70 and older group. So it's going quicker than people want to think. It's just that you can't have it right away and everyone can't have it at once. But if we get through those 70-year-olds and through those 70 and older, and then the 60 and older, we will have done a lot as from a public health perspective. That was a long answer. Nobody asked me another question. I talked too long.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any more questions for Sean?
I
John,
don't
is
have a
it, is it,
question,
go ahead.
but I do have a comment. Ever since that the vaccine has become available, whether it was for first responders or this first group of 70 plus that we've opened up, we have had several 70-year-olds that faithfully call 2 and 3 times a week. And we always just say, you're welcome to keep checking back with us, because if they're 70 and older, more than likely, as Doug said, they're on a list at the local hospital or even surrounding counties. So they're going to go where they can get the vaccine the quickest. And the people that we can remember that have been faithfully calling is on our schedule either last week or the 2 weeks coming up. But and like John said, that population is scared and they're wanting the vaccine as soon as it's available that they can get it. But as far as the hospital or any medical provider in the county, they have been excellent to work with or call and ask us questions. So we can't say enough about them as well.
Okay, anyone else, Dr. John?
Yeah, I was going to ask Sean, is it Moderna that you're getting?
That is correct, sir. We're getting Moderna. The Pfizer, we don't have the cold storage
Can't
capacity
store it.
for that,
Yeah.
so we're getting all Moderna. This Johnson & Johnson looks like it's going to get approved pretty soon. It's a 1-dose vaccine. I imagine that the governor will push that out to some other group, and kind of keep the continuity of how it's been going. I'm just guessing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it might go to FQHCs. It might go to some more pharmacies or whatever. I was trying to pull up our website and see. Okay, so I did list on our website the pharmacies that have been approved so far. I was wanting to see if one of them was in Cumberland, and there's not. The closest county that has an approved pharmacy for you guys may be Adair County, I guess. Adair Drug.
I think there's is that a Good Neighbor Pharmacy? I know
Probably.
they're doing something with the Good Neighbor Pharmacies.
Yeah. And then, of course, TJ over in Columbia has a regional hub, and I think I don't have it listed on the website because I don't know for sure if they're going to be getting 300 or 500 doses a week. I've heard both. Hopefully, it'll be 500 doses a week. That would help. Plus what we're getting to push out. So, like I said, we're getting close with the 70 and older. Maybe the next 3 weeks, and then 3 weeks after that, we'll be through that group and on into the 60 and older.
Well, if we're getting half, that's pretty good. That's went better than what I thought. If we feel like we've got 50% of the 70-year-olds.
Well, that's my guess. I won't know for sure until people quit asking for appointments, but that's my best guess.
Okay.
Hey, Cindy, can you send me the number that I can, because I have a lot of patients 70 and older that beg for the shot every week. So I can give them the exact and correct number that they need to be calling, please.
Yeah, I will.
And Doug, if you would give them our website, right when you get to our homepage, there's a banner that says COVID-19. Every single day we list everything that we know on our daily brief. Other than Sunday, we've started closing on Sunday. But if there's a new site added that we're informed about, we list it on that site. And we will list whenever we're opening up our appointment books, and what day to do that, what number to call. So everything's in that daily brief each day.
John, is it possible that possibly that we can get some information maybe on the local radio? Because when you look at that 70 plus population, they're not like on social media as,
Right.
younger people would be.
Yeah, we did. Now, we reached out to all the local radio stations when we made this push with this last push. Now, whether or not the radio stations aired what we shared with them, I don't know. All I know is we gave it to them. And we will continue to do that as long as we have enough notice to do that. We'll push it to the radio stations too.
I'm not sure how much people know, the general public, because I didn't even know y'all had opened it up to 70.
Well, just read our daily brief.
Yep, that's true.
We go to that homepage. I need you all to be following our social medias, sharing the things that we post with others so that they can see it too.
Okay, any more questions for Sean? I guess we got plenty of time. It's too nasty to go outside and do anything. All in and all good? Well, if that's all we have, Sean, I guess, are we ready for a motion to adjourn?
That's right, sir. Let me just say thanks to you guys for what you do, for the health board and for your communities. I appreciate you all serving.
I too appreciate everybody getting on the meeting today, and appreciate everything that everybody's doing on their end out there. Thank you all very much. Well, if there's nothing else, I will accept the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, and I'll make the motion that we adjourn.
Motion by Doug Williams, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Gina Watson. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.